welcome one and all. This is AzuchiGuardian speaking. I am your host, if you haven't already known that, and we are finally starting episode 2 of my brand new series, Classical Comeback. And if you haven't already guessed, this short is actually known as Father's Lion, which you can find on the Happy Summer Days VHS tape, along with one other VHS tape and 2 DVD releases. Now, this particular short was released on January 4th, 1952, and if you haven't already guessed, it's about Goofy taking his son, Goofy Jr., yeah, that's a very creative name, not on a camping trip to teach him how to survive in the wild, like real dads do. So, happy belated Father's Day to all you dads out there. And if you ever did take your children out on a camping trip, I hope it wasn't to poach animals. You sick bastards. And speaking of sick bastards, the fact that Goofy would try to fabricate all these stories to his son is fucked up. And in one of these stories that we just saw, he goes around slave driving bulls, massacring innocent natives, and then he goes around various places across the globe to kill exotic animals. Well, you're full of donkey doo, aren't you, Mr. Goofy? Oh, by the way, speaking of Goofy, did you know in this particular short he's actually voiced by veteran actor Pinto Colvig, who played Goofy all the way up until his retirement in 1965, and then, coincidentally enough, died 2 years later. His son Bobby Jr., on the other hand, is voiced by veteran child actor Bobby Driscoll, who you may know as the voice actor behind Peter Pan from the 1953 film of the same name, which was released, you guessed it, a year after this short. Now, like with Donald Duck in the last episode, this short actually has no trivia facts to it whatsoever. So, yet again, we are to resort to the classical jokes, except Goofy's got this one covered. That's actually kind of a running gag within this short, if you haven't noticed by now. Now, joke number 1. How do you make a campfire with only 2 sticks? Anyone? Simple. Just make sure one's a match. Knock knock. Who's there? S'mores. S'mores who? May I get s'mores marshmallows? Alright, now this is the scene where Goofy actually starts making some flapjacks for him and Junior, and then he starts bragging about this bullshit story of him being known as Sourdough Joe and had the best flapjacks in the entire Yukon province. I bet. So good that they give you dysentery and an extra 20 pounds. Quite literally, in fact, for we actually get to see Louie gain an extra 20 pounds. This causes Louie to actually fall out of the tree and land straight on his gut, and Junior to wonder, what was that, a lion? However, Goofy dismisses it and just simply explains that, nah, just forest noises. And then, I say, like nature calling. And then, believe it or not, but Louie actually leaves them alone for the rest of the day.
Darling, if I marry you, will you keep me in Wilkins Coffee?
Boy, will this be a soggy romance.
Let yourself go to Pizza Hut. Let yourself go to Pizza Hut. When it's pizza you want, nothing else will do. When there's no stopping until you're through. When you're laughing and smiling and shooting the breeze. When you wanna let loose and be as free as you please. Let yourself go. Let yourself go to Pizza Hut.
Gary!
Oh, that was cool. Oh! Look, you want me to drive?
Who the hell cares?
Buttheads.
And I want a drink of Yukon's finest whiskey, but that ain't gonna happen now, is it, kid? Where does a dog go sleeping when he's camping? Care to guess? A pup tent. Gee, for a camping expert, he sure forgot that he needs to boil the water first before he actually serves it to his kid.
So anyway, once he retrieved the cup of water, he then heads to bed. Well, sort of, it's a sleeping bag. But Louis decides to have the edge on him by hiding within the sleeping bag himself. And Junior asks, do lions sleep in sleeping bags? Unless they're freeloaders, then no. So once Goofy tucks himself back into his sleeping bag, we see his foot shred through the sleeping bag itself. Either Goofy needs to trim his toenails or there's something freaky going on here. So after Louis had his toenails clipped and his fur zipped, I guess, he starts to attack Goofy and Junior, and then Goofy shouts, "A lion?" Yeah, who did you think it was gonna be? Jolly old fat Nick? So Goofy discriminately starts shooting at him despite Snow White's pleas for him not to. Hey, animal lives matter, Louis survives the gunshots, however he escapes into the wilderness and Goofy follows in pursuit where he actually looks behind trees. Speaking of trees, you ever wondered how they get onto the internet? Seriously, have you ever wondered? Oh, very simple. They just log in. Louis then chases them into the parking lot where Goofy Jr. actually shoots Louis in the face to protect his father. This forces Louis to make a hasty retreat, and thus both father and son get away. And then this is where the short ends, with Goofy telling his son another bullshit story, asking him, "Did I ever tell you about the time I was a race car driver?"
No, but I remember the time you told me that you were somebody's whipping boy once.
How we survived that, I don't know.
Hey, if we hadn't found these miniguns just lying around, we'd be fucking dead for sure.
I'm just glad Varla got the justice she deserved. So, what do you plan to do with your life now, Isaac?
Well, I figured as soon as I got home, I'd go pay my respects to my old man.
And then?
And then Washington's going to die. What the fuck? Fucking Vegas, baby.